Heart disease is the #1 killer in the world today. Only since the Industrial Revolution. What happened in the Industrial Revolution? Something else happened. They started to extract oil from hard seeds. And in the extraction process, using heat, using chemicals, it damages the oils. Those oils get into the bloodstream. What do you think they do to the arterial wall? They also damage it. So those altered toxic fats are also contributing to it. People have been eating fat for centuries. It hasn't given them heart disease.
Did you know that up to 80% of heart attacks are triggered by hidden daily habits most people aren't even aware of? In this eye-opening video, world-renowned naturopath Dr. Barbara O'Neill reveals the 4 silent habits secretly wreaking havoc on your heart health. These seemingly innocent routines could be silently setting you up for heart disease, a stroke, or worse. Watch now to uncover the truth and start reversing the damage today. According to Dr. Barbara O'Neill, poor dietary choices, particularly the consumption of processed meats like bacon and sausages, as well as sugary beverages, significantly contribute to the development of heart disease. She explains that processed meats are often high in saturated fats, sodium, and preservatives, which can lead to a direct assault on the arteries. These meats contain nitrites and other chemicals that not only damage the endothelial lining of blood vessels, but also cause oxidative stress, which accelerates arterial plaque formation. These plaques narrow the arteries, leading to conditions such as atherosclerosis, where the arteries become stiff and less capable of transporting blood efficiently. This increase in arterial rigidity can result in elevated blood pressure, putting further strain on the heart and increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. The high levels of sodium in processed meats are especially damaging, as excessive salt intake leads to fluid retention, forcing the heart to work harder to pump blood. Over time, this additional strain can cause the heart to weaken and become inefficient, further compounding cardiovascular issues. Dr. O'Neill also emphasizes the detrimental role of sugary beverages in promoting heart disease. These drinks are typically loaded with refined sugars, particularly fructose, which the liver metabolizes into fat. This fat accumulates in the liver and bloodstream, contributing to the development of fatty liver disease and increasing levels of low-density lipoprotein, LDL cholesterol, and triglycerides. High LDL levels are a known risk factor for heart disease because they contribute to the formation of plaques in the arteries. The excessive consumption of sugary beverages also spikes blood sugar levels, leading to insulin resistance over time. Insulin resistance is closely linked to metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that increase the risk of heart disease, including elevated blood sugar, excess abdominal fat, and high cholesterol levels. Dr. O'Neill points out that the chronic consumption of processed foods and sugary drinks leads to systemic inflammation, which is another critical factor in heart disease. Inflammation weakens the integrity of the arterial walls, making them more susceptible to damage from cholesterol and other harmful substances in the bloodstream. As the body tries to repair this damage, it exacerbates the plaque buildup process, creating a vicious cycle that continually worsens heart health. Inflammation also promotes the oxidation of LDL cholesterol, making it even more dangerous to the arteries. In contrast, Dr. O'Neill advocates for a diet rich in whole, natural foods, emphasizing that fresh fruits, vegetables, and clean proteins provide the body with essential nutrients that protect the cardiovascular system. Vegetables and fruits are rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that help neutralize free radicals, reducing oxidative stress and inflammation. Clean proteins, such as those from plant-based sources or lean meats, offer the amino acids necessary for tissue repair without the harmful effects of processed meats. The fiber in whole fruits and vegetables also plays a critical role in maintaining heart health, as it helps regulate cholesterol levels by binding to excess LDL in the digestive tract and removing it from the body.
Now, there are 2 herbs that work very well in strengthening the heart, and you may have heard of this herb. It's the hawthorn berry. The hawthorn berry strengthens the heart. It brings it back to normality. Often people have heart arrhythmia, often caused by caffeines and wheats and refined sugar, not even realizing that the food they're eating is causing the problem. But hawthornberry can bring it back to normality. It's an incredibly safe herb. You might get hawthornberry tablets and have 1-3 times a day. If it's not doing it, do 2-3 times a day. It's very, very safe. You see, if you don't turn the tap off, you're still going to be mopping up in the other corner. That's why these things must be implemented. You must keep that heart with all diligence. So the hawthornberry, if your blood pressure's too high, it'll bring it down. If it's too low, it'll bring it up.
Dr. O'Neill also stresses the importance of avoiding trans fats, which are often found in processed foods. Trans fats are chemically altered fats that not only raise LDL cholesterol levels, but also lower high-density lipoprotein, HDL cholesterol, which is responsible for clearing excess cholesterol from the arteries. This dual effect further accelerates the development of heart disease by ensuring that more cholesterol remains in the bloodstream, where it can deposit itself in arterial walls. In addition, a lack of physical movement is one of the most critical factors affecting heart health, often overlooked in modern lifestyles dominated by sedentary behavior. Prolonged periods of sitting or inactivity are directly linked to an increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. This is because the human body is not designed for extended immobility. The heart, as the central engine of the circulatory system, relies on regular physical movement to maintain optimal function. When the body remains sedentary, blood flow slows, and circulation becomes inefficient, which, in turn, can lead to a buildup of plaque in the arteries, a precursor to heart attacks or strokes. The heart operates under a simple rule. It thrives on regular, moderate activity. Even short, frequent bouts of movement stimulate the heart to pump blood more effectively, transporting oxygen and nutrients throughout the body.
Exercise is number one way to strengthen the heart, and probably your pulse is one indication of how strong your heart is. The stronger your heart is, the lower your pulse would be. And that's not genetics. Albert Carter says 3 minutes, 3 times a day. That's nothing. I maintain that if every office had one of these and everybody that worked in the office did 1 minute every hour, I think they'd find that work would be finished by about 3 in the afternoon. I think they would find that the productivity would immediately rise. Because when I say every single cell in the body, this is including the brain cells. So that's all very impressive. And that's why Albert Carter's children were so strong and all they did was rebound. Now, if you get one of these rebounders and children visit, where are they? They're on this rebounder. They love jumping. One lady said to me that she had 3 foster children and they'd been through a very terrible experience, and she had a trampoline. She said they would just trampoline for hours on end.
Conversely, inactivity leads to the weakening of the heart muscles, which diminishes their capacity to pump blood efficiently. As a result, the risk of conditions like hypertension increases, contributing to a cycle of poor cardiovascular health. Dr. O'Neill points out that many people mistakenly believe that exercising only once a day for a short duration can offset the damage of prolonged sitting, but this is a misconception. The body requires consistent movement throughout the day, and the dangers of a sedentary lifestyle are cumulative. Sitting for long hours, especially without regular breaks, can cause immediate harm. One consequence is a decrease in enzyme production that aids in the breakdown of fats, leading to higher levels of cholesterol and triglycerides in the bloodstream. This elevates the risk of developing heart disease, as these lipids can clog arteries over time. The negative effects of a sedentary lifestyle extend beyond the heart. Dr. O'Neill explains that prolonged sitting reduces the effectiveness of insulin in the body, leading to insulin resistance, which is a significant factor in the development of type 2 diabetes, a condition closely linked to heart disease. The relationship between diabetes and cardiovascular problems is well established, with diabetes doubling the risk of heart-related fatalities. Additionally, a lack of movement affects the body's ability to manage stress, another key contributor to heart disease. Physical activity stimulates the release of endorphins, which are natural mood enhancers and stress reducers. In the absence of regular movement, stress hormones like cortisol accumulate, raising blood pressure and causing inflammation in the blood vessels. This inflammation is a silent killer, slowly damaging the inner walls of the arteries and making them more prone to plaque buildup. One of the most effective ways to counteract the dangers of a sedentary lifestyle is to incorporate movement throughout the day. Besides, chronic stress has a profound impact on the body, particularly the cardiovascular system. Stress prompts the release of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which increase heart rate and elevate blood pressure. These physiological responses, while useful in short-term fight or flight scenarios, become detrimental when prolonged over time, as is the case with chronic stress. The heart, consistently overworked in response to these stress signals, is forced to pump harder, which eventually weakens its ability to function properly. This continuous strain wears down the blood vessels, leading to a higher risk of arterial damage, which in turn promotes the formation of plaques, a leading cause of heart attacks and strokes. Dr. O'Neill notes that unchecked stress can lead to the disruption of normal heart rhythms, which can evolve into life-threatening arrhythmias. The heart is particularly sensitive to the biochemical changes that occur in states of persistent stress. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, directly impacts the arteries, causing them to constrict. This makes it difficult for blood to flow efficiently, leading to a situation where the heart is constantly overexerting itself to maintain normal circulation. Over time, this constriction and reduced blood flow cause the arteries to harden, a condition known as atherosclerosis, which is directly linked to coronary heart disease. In addition to the direct physiological impacts, Dr. O'Neill underscores the behavioral changes that often accompany chronic stress, which further exacerbate heart problems. Many individuals under chronic stress turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms, such as overeating, smoking, or consuming alcohol, all of which compound the strain on the heart. These behaviors contribute to the development of hypertension, high cholesterol, and diabetes, all risk factors for cardiovascular disease. Dr. O'Neill points out that stress-induced cravings for high-fat, high-sugar foods further heighten the risk of obesity, which places additional pressure on the heart and blood vessels, accelerating the progression of heart disease. Dr. O'Neill recommends some stress management techniques as essential tools for protecting the heart. Simple practices like deep breathing exercises, which activate the parasympathetic nervous system, help counteract the effects of stress hormones by slowing the heart rate and lowering blood pressure.
So the first one we're going to look at is pure air. This is often underestimated. And we have our own personal air conditioner. Did you know that? Our own personal air conditioner, our own personal air purifier, our own personal system, and that is called nose. Mouth is for singing, mouth is for talking, mouth is for eating, mouth is for, we've said singing, mouth is for drinking, nose, and nose alone is for breathing.
Dr. O'Neill often points to the immediate physiological benefits of mindful breathing, which helps regulate the body's stress response, ensuring that the heart isn't overwhelmed by the constant release of cortisol and adrenaline. Regular breaks from work and other high-stress environments are also important, but mostly overlooked. Taking frequent short breaks during the day allows the body to recalibrate, preventing the buildup of stress hormones and giving the heart a chance to recover from heightened activity. Finally, speaking of stress, it often leads to insufficient sleep, which profoundly impacts heart health, particularly by increasing the risk of coronary artery disease, CAD. When you sleep less than 6 hours per night, your cardiovascular system endures extra strain.
Dr. Matthew Walker, they did a lot of experiments, especially on students. Had 20 students. 10 of the students had 6 hours sleep a night. The other 10 had 8 hours sleep a night. 3 months later, they tested them, and the ones that had 8 hours sleep a night, I think it was 40% more knowledge they retained compared to the ones having 6 hours sleep a night. Dr. Matthew Walker showed that 10 nights of 6 hours sleep a night, 50% less cognitive performance and 50% less physical performance. And he said the danger is you don't even realize that you're lacking. He also showed that there are more accidents due to sleep deprivation than alcohol. 10 nights of 6 hours sleep a night doubles your risk of mental illness. And 6 hours sleep a night, the person doesn't even know they're not functioning properly because they actually feel all right. What a deception is that? Dr. Matthew Walker, he says,
during sleep, the heart rate slows and blood pressure drops, allowing for essential restorative processes. Insufficient sleep interrupts these processes, leading to higher blood pressure and increased risk of heart disease. One key reason insufficient sleep is linked to CAD is its impact on blood pressure regulation. Normally, sleep causes a natural decline in blood pressure, which helps the heart and blood vessels rest. Insufficient sleep prevents the body from experiencing this low-pressure state, resulting in sustained high blood pressure during waking hours. Chronic high blood pressure, or hypertension, damages the arteries and makes them more susceptible to plaque buildup, which can restrict blood flow to the heart and increase the risk of heart attacks. Sleep deprivation also triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which elevate heart rate and blood pressure, compounding the effects of poor rest on cardiovascular health. Over time, elevated cortisol levels can lead to chronic inflammation, damaging arterial linings, and making them more prone to plaque formation. This inflammation contributes to the development of CAD, as narrowed arteries can severely restrict blood flow and lead to heart attacks. As Dr. O'Neill says, insufficient sleep impairs glucose metabolism and insulin sensitivity, causing elevated blood sugar levels that can damage blood vessels and increase CAD risk. Chronic sleep deprivation can lead to insulin resistance, a condition closely linked to diabetes and cardiovascular disease. People with diabetes face higher CAD risks, and insufficient sleep exacerbates this risk. Moreover, sleep is crucial for maintaining healthy cholesterol levels. Lack of sleep reduces high-density lipoprotein, HDL, or good cholesterol, and increases low-density lipoprotein, LDL, or bad cholesterol. This imbalance contributes to plaque formation in the arteries, heightening CAD risk. HDL helps remove excess cholesterol from the bloodstream, and insufficient levels of HDL make it harder to keep arteries clear of fatty deposits. Sleep deprivation also affects weight gain and obesity, which are major CAD risk factors. Poor sleep disrupts the hormones controlling hunger, increasing ghrelin, which makes people hungrier, and decreasing leptin, which signals fullness. This imbalance often leads to overeating and weight gain, putting additional strain on the heart. Obesity can lead to sleep apnea, where breathing stops and starts during sleep. This makes your oxygen levels drop frequently, which can raise blood pressure and increase the risk of heart disease and other heart problems. So tell me, which of these habits surprised you the most? Have you noticed any of them in your daily routine? Let us know in the comments below, and consider changing that habit soon to protect your health. Remember, while the heart is crucial to your well-being, it's not the only organ that matters. The liver also plays a vital role. If you're dealing with liver issues, you need to watch this.